All right, all right. Welcome to everybody that might be on. We got great, the one, the only, Vaughn V.Keys Henry, the virtuoso in the house today. Say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, good people? Thank y'all for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
excited to be here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You want to tell the folks where you tuning in from? Because you're not at home right now. You're traveling the
I'm
world.
not. I'm not. I actually am at home, like my first home. I'm in Miami right now, South Florida,
Hey,
Pompano to be exact.
okay.
And yeah, I'm excited to be here doing producing a live recording in my home city. So I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited. It's a good
that's
day.
amazing. You want to tell us about like who's the artist that you're working with? How'd you kind of get connected
Yeah,
with this live
so
recording?
it's a church called Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church, and the name of the choir is Remnant of Praise. So it's like a real church recording, kind of like a Potter's House type recording.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's real gospel music, real choir music. So it's super exciting. Yeah, man. It's just and I get to work with the homies from the crib.
There you go.
So
There you go.
yeah, it's just gonna be a fun time.
Yeah, definitely, man. It feels like choir music is a lost art now.
Yeah,
So there's
it
something
is.
that's always good to see new projects. Whenever Ricky Dillard announces that he's dropping a choir project, it definitely is an immediate save. So we need
Right,
more of that.
right. Exactly. We gotta preserve the sound of gospel, man. We
Definitely.
we can't get too far away from it because it's our roots, and it's responsible for so much music, even outside of church. Choir
Yeah.
music specifically. A
Yeah,
lot of
definitely.
people, they have sampled so much choir music,
Facts. Mm-hmm.
in hip hop that make the mainstream music. So yeah, we got to stick with it. We got to keep doing it so they can keep sampling us.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not to mention like all the musicians, man, who are on the road playing behind pop artists, playing behind country artists who came out of that music. So
Exactly.
it's definitely made an impact, man. It's made a huge
Uh,
impact.
100%. 100%.
All right, cool. Well, hey, welcome again to everybody who's on this call. Drop a comment in the chat. Let us know what country, what city, what state. If you're not from the U.S., where you tuning in from. If you got any questions that you want to ask Vaughn, drop them in the comments as well. We're gonna start off with just some like I just want him to talk about his background, how he got his sound, some of the things and musicians that inspire him. So we'll start with that stuff, and then as we kind of get later on in this live, we will go to some of the questions that y'all drop in the comment section in the chat. Okay. So let's get started, yo. We ain't gonna waste no time. First question I just want to ask you is for the people that don't know who you are, that aren't familiar with you, who are you? Where are you from? What's your background? All that good stuff. Give us the basic info.
Uh, so I am first. I'm a believer on the Lord Jesus Christ. That's who I am. That's my identity. My identity is in Christ. I am from Miami, Florida, by way of Jamaican parents. So I'm a yard man. That's
Yeah.
you know. Um, so yeah, and I grew up in South Florida. That contributes to the sound. Just the many influences. There's so many. There's Cubans here. There's Venezuelans. There's Jamaicans. There's Haitians. There's people from the Middle East. There's people from Asia. There's people from all over. It's a huge melting pot, very much like New York. So it's uh, South Florida has a unique sound because it's a melting pot of so many different sounds and different
Yeah.
cultures. So um, that's me. That's who I'm. A husband and a father, and yeah, and I am a musician and producer through and through, and that's me. Mhm.
That's dope, man. Yeah, that's dope. I don't know. I don't know. We're cousins in law. My wife is Jamaican, so
Yeah,
I'm not Jamaican, but I married into a
yeah.
Jamaican family. So
By association.
yeah, exactly.
For sure.
My kids got it. Yeah, they got the Jamaican
Yeah,
blood. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
that's dope, man. That's dope. So I want to know is like, did you just pop out the womb and you was just already nice on the keys, or like how? What was the
I was
process to get so cold?
man. So I did have a super early start.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was the Christmas of probably 95. I was 2 years old, and my mom just brought a whole bunch of Christmas presents for me. This is a story. I don't remember this. This is what was told to me.
Okay.
But she brought a whole bunch of presents, toys, cars, basketballs, and then some music stuff. And
Yeah.
she said that all I did was play with either boxes or the music stuff. So she returned all the other stuff and got her money back, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
And basically, I just was hooked on the music stuff, and I've been playing ever since, bro. I don't ever remember not playing music,
Huh.
you know.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I just started. I just gravitated towards music at a young age, and I think really God just ordained me to do what it is that I do because I started so young and I don't remember not doing it.
Yeah.
And I know how I feel when I'm not doing it. Like when I'm not doing music, it's a weird space for me.
Yeah.
And that's because that's what God has placed in me. So it really started super young, and
Okay.
then I would just be in church just watching the older musicians just be so excited to hear them,
Mm-hmm.
just soak in all of what I was hearing, from the ages of 3. I started playing in church around the age of 4.
Okay.
I would be up there. I wouldn't be playing a full service by myself, but
Mm-hmm.
I would be up there with, older musicians and musicians that influenced me, and just trying to figure out my way. And I just kept doing that consistency, kept doing it
Mm-hmm.
consistently, and then eventually I was able to play in church, with and hold my own, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of happened organically.
Okay. And so you never had like formal training when you were young. It was just
Not when
the
I was
school of
young.
church.
Yeah, it was the school of. It's weird. So it's the school of Jamaican church, which is totally different
Okay.
than even the stuff that I was I've been teaching. Even the nothing but church. It's like I didn't actually grow up
It's
playing
completely
church
different.
music as we know it as Black Americans. Because I'm born as a Black American, but
Right.
my heritage is
But
Jamaican. So
Jamaican traditions, yeah.
I had to go out and seek music and
Mm-hmm.
seek understanding. I just wanted to know more. I didn't want to be limited by where I was.
Yeah.
Um, so oftentimes, and it was me and a lot of the musicians who were just a little bit older than me and my same age, we all felt the same way. Like growing up in the church that we were in, we just did not want to be limited by our environment. So we always stretched out and we would go and learn records. We would sing certain songs. Like we'd make the youth choir. We loved youth Sundays because we was just like, oh yeah, we gonna turn this Jamaican church out. We about to do some John P. Key. We you know what I'm saying? We would study all that other stuff that we didn't typically just get. So yeah, man, it was mainly the school of church.
Okay.
Uh in my younger years.
Got you, got you. So you were influenced by the church that you grew up in, the Jamaican tradition, but then you were also going and looking and searching for the other sounds when it came to gospel, when it came to other genres as well. Is what I'm hearing.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, um, one of the musicians that's on this session that I'm producing, he's playing guitar, but a lot of people have seen him at Cooper Temple playing keys, playing the jumping waves. It goes by the name of Dwayne Bennett. Dwayne is also the same as me. He's American born, but Jamaican parents, and we grew up in the same church. And he's a bit older than I am, probably about 10 years or so, and he he was a big influence for me. He was the first person that I saw that was like playing multiple instruments, all at a high level, you know. And so he would push everybody. He would push everybody around him. Right? He would push all of us to be better and to seek for better, you know. And so I had that, you know, that had that community of all of us were like trying to get better, you know, and not be just
Yeah, yeah.
limited to our environment. So
That's dope.
yeah.
That's dope. Something that's standing out to me is like it seems like from early on, then you got to be around other musicians too, who help push you, who were extremely high level of musicianship. And so I think something I think about is one, you said you were able to start playing at like 4, right? Now
Yeah.
I grew up in a big Baptist church in California, and so I was like singing in the choir. My dad was one of the ministers there, so I was like, if he would preach for a morning service or something, they'd throw me on keys. But I didn't get to play consistently into church until I was like a teenager, right? So maybe for the people who don't get to be around high level of musicians, maybe they are the highest level musician. And so it's like they feel like their skills aren't here, but they're still trying to learn and they have to lead a service on their instrument. What can they do to like kind of simulate being around great musicians?
Hmm. Man, I would say, you know, it's different for everybody. Everybody's environment is different and everybody's space is different. But networking is a powerful tool, and there are people, there may not, everybody's not always willing to show you what they know, but there are some that are. And so I would just tell them to reach out to some of the greats in their area and see like what are they doing. Like, are you producing any sessions, or is there any rehearsals that I can come to that I could just watch and see what you're doing? Like, I won't bother anything. I just want to just see and absorb. You know, I just want to be around, be in that environment. um you kind of just got to push your way into that environment, and you know, just ask questions, and just try your best to be around. Go see artists or musicians who inspire you. Go watch them play. If they you know, have a concert in town, like, go and see them. Go and see artists that have the band members that you like, just because you want to hear what the band members are doing. You don't even have to necessarily like the artist. You just want to see what they're doing. So you have to go and see that, go and be around it. It's difficult. I know that I was blessed to have the experience of having older musicians around me to push me, to kick me off the organ when I wasn't doing good. You know, like I've had those experiences, you know, when I was really young. So it really did help me. It did push me for sure. So
Got
I
you.
would say be open, be as open as you can be, and just try to. Where the world is different, you know, it's different than
Mhm.
when it was in the '90s and early 2000s. But
Yeah.
um, you know, we have tools like gifted hands, you know, where you can
There
spend
we go.
hours with somebody, even if it's virtually, you're still spending hours with somebody helping you, you know, to get to the place that you want to be. But I would definitely still reach out to your local people, because it's nothing like the local presence and the actual experience of just being
Hmm.
around, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Okay, got you. So I want to say maybe that the live. Let's talk about the your surroundings, your environment versus like studying records.
mhm.
Were they both equally as important to you, or do you feel like the musicians who you were surrounded by made more of an impact than maybe who you studied? Like the albums that you were listening to, the singles, the videos that you were watching online.
They both have a different impact, and they're both equally important to me.
Okay.
Um, it's important to have people around, because people, they will also, the right people around you, the right OGs around you will
Yeah.
also teach you the life lessons that comes with being a musician, because there are certain life lessons that are specific to us,
Yeah.
um and that stuff will help. That would even help the way you think about music. It'll help the way you play. It'll help everything. um and it kind of helps you in like a real life environment.
Mhm.
Studying records gives you information,
Yeah.
and you need the information as well. And then having the experience with people helps you to learn what to do with that information. you know so
Got you.
they're both equally important, and yeah, invest time in both.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm glad you said that too, because hey, I'm gonna take the time right now to make the shameless plug. One of the reasons
Yes.
why we're doing this live Q&A, this session with Vaughn, is because we just dropped a masterclass, Nothing But Church masterclass. It dropped yesterday. It's available now. Vaughn is spending hours and hours teaching you all the secrets, the sauce, how to play congregational tunes, a crazy shout that he came up with, and you will get tons and tons of lessons with him showing you how to play chords, progressions, voicings, all of the things. So if you are a pianist who is looking for someone for some guidance, for a way to improve your skills, then definitely check out Nothing But Church Masterclass. The link's in the chat. All right. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna jump over to some of these questions because it seems like it's a lot of comments over here, yo. I love it. Love to see it. The chat is
Yeah, I
going
see some of
crazy.
my people on there. My sister Michelle,
There we go.
Quezzy on here. What's up, y'all? Y'all in the building.
Yep, yep, definitely. I see a couple people from the DMV. We got some folks from where else we got? Uh, New York, NYC, Louisiana, Cali.
Yeah,
Prayers
I'm
up
from all
to
over.
all the wildfire victims in Cali. Hope you're safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so let's see. Let's see. Are there any questions that we're gonna address right now in the chat? Okay, here we go. Here's something unexpected. I'm gonna pull this one up on the screen. So one of the bands that you play with, Vaughn, is Smoogies, right? You
Smoogies.
was it
Smoogies.
Smoogies?
Smoogies.
Oh, my bad. Okay, Smoogies.
It's
Yeah,
okay. You're not the first to say
yeah,
smoogie.
yeah. The Smoogies. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my country accent. But so Daniel is wondering what's the vocoder rig when you're playing for the Smoogies?
Oh man. Okay, so I don't use it all the time, so I can't, and I don't have it in front of me right now, so I don't know the name of it. But I do know it's who is it by? I think it's a Roland, some type of Roland vocoder. And it's actually a friend of mine's who kind of just let me have it because he had a whole bunch of other ones. So I really didn't know. I just needed some type of vocoder because I don't like. I'm not that much of a gearhead, but I know I
Right.
needed a vocoder and had a homie that was just like, here, just have this one.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was such a blessing. Um, but if I'm gonna make a note of that because I'm sure other people have that question, and
Yeah.
when I can, I'll answer that.
Do a rig rundown or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple of other questions that I have are about main stage. A couple people asked about your main stage rig,
Mm-hmm.
what software, what plugins you use. So that's gonna come up probably a couple times today.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool, cool. So I see another question here from Silas.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. When trying to transpose progressions and chord movements, such as a 13, do I just gotta plunk out note by note to transpose, or is there a more effective way? Oh, so I guess trying to move chords to
Yeah.
other keys.
To different keys. Well, there is there's no fast way, and I think with the tools that we have now, that we are giving you, we didn't have those when we were. There was no YouTube, at the time where we were doing this. There was no like one-on-one lessons, like going through everything. So I feel like honestly, the best tools that you guys have right now is the fact that you have people who have already done this explaining this to you, but at the same time, there's no fast way to getting good. It's like a microwave dinner versus your mama's home cooking. Your mama's home cooking takes
Ain't
some
nothing like
time.
that slow cooker.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
takes some time, but when it's right, when it's done, it's right.
Uh-huh.
So there's I would say do not look for a fast way, because if you look for a fast way, you will be frustrated. Practice is not meant to be done fast. Just practice consistently and you will start to get better at practicing, which will make you better faster. But don't worry so much about time. I would say the way that I have figured out chords was literally holding a chord and then literally taking one finger at a time and putting it up a half step, taking the next finger up a half step, and figuring out what is the chord in the other key. Uh, and for me, you only have to do that one time. Once you do that one time, then your muscle memory will lock in. Okay, this is what this is, and also you'll start to recognize that this chord, this certain chord might seem like a difficult chord because it's maybe in like the key of D or something, but it's actually probably an easy chord in another key, but you just never
Yeah.
thought about it that way. That's was something that I started to recognize. I'm like, oh, these are the same chords, same sounds, but they just have a different application depending on what key you're in and depending on what bass note you're playing. So um, just get used to shapes and yeah, take it slow and just make sure it's right. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's encouraging for. I think one of the questions that I see the most just teaching, being on the Gifted Hands platform is how do I, as a beginner or as an intermediate player, get comfortable playing in all 12 keys? And I think that's something that's encouraging to earlier on musicians is because like if you think you have to learn these chords just to play in D major or E major, one of the keys that are unfamiliar to most gospel songs, it's like no, actually the chords, the progressions that you work on in that key aren't just for that key. It's for every single key because the more you learn, the more you can do whatever really you want in music.
Exactly. Exactly. So like you could play if I were to play a one chord in a churchy one chord in A, it's also that same chord can be that dominant chord could also be a a two chord in C sharp if you're churching. Like, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
we actually play the same shape and don't realize that we're playing it. But when we get to A, we feel like we're tripped up, and it's just like, actually, you do know how to play this chord. You just don't know you know how to play it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that
There you go.
that comes with spending time. And then you realize, oh, this is actually not that intimidating. It's actually this.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's just spend time practicing,
Okay.
practice diligently, slow and steady, and then pick up the pace as you get comfortable. One of the mottos that my professor gave me when I went to college was, "You need to practice until you can't mess it up."
Yep.
So I don't
Mastery.
move up in speed. I always practice with a metronome, and I don't speed the metronome up until I've gotten it right at least 5 times in a row at the whatever speed I'm at, and then
Yep.
I'll speed it up.
Right, right.
Because I want to make sure for sure that whatever passage or chord or line that I'm practicing, that it is correct.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, yeah.
Definitely. I think that's something that's underrated and something that's hard for a lot of musicians to like just to understand is how much it takes to actually master like one thing.
Hmm.
And so because even like I'm teaching my son now. My son is 6 and he's on the keys a few times a week. And he's like, man, he thinks he can play something 3 times and then be done with it. I'm like, bro, no, you actually need to play these 4 chords for the next hour. And you probably still won't
Yeah,
have it. Like it'll
yeah,
probably take you a couple days. So like
absolutely, 100%.
where do you where do you find the patience for the beginner intermediate musicians? Where do they find the patience to maybe just stick with the one thing where maybe you feel like most people feel like, man, I'm bored of this, or this is frustrating, this is exhausting doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. You find the patience in your love for music. That's where you find it. You find it in the love for, I want to have an understanding of this thing called music, not just this song, not just this genre, not just this instrument. I want to understand music, even if I express it on only this instrument. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to understand music. I want to be able to serve the music, and I want to be able to do it freely. I want to be able to do it naturally. And when you have that mindset, you realize I can only do that if I understand the inner working. It's almost like you don't want a doctor who hasn't had any kind of surgery experience doing surgery
Facts.
on you.
Right.
It's like you kind of don't want that.
Not at all.
It's like, how much time did you put in studying the human body before
Right.
I trust like you gonna
I
put me to
watched. I watched a
sleep?
couple videos.
You know
I
what I'm
watched a couple
saying?
videos.
You know
Have
what I'm
surgery.
saying? I watched a
Yeah. Yeah.
couple videos, and I talked to a few people, and I asked
Uh
people
huh.
how to do stuff, and they told me, and I just kind of got my degree online real quick. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and be like,
Uh huh.
yeah, I'm not going to you.
No thanks. I'm
You
gonna
know,
find somebody else. You do that. So
exactly. It's the same approach with music. It's like you you kind of can hear um you can kind of hear when people sound like what, I hate to say this, but like a YouTube musician. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
they only
Mm-hmm.
watch YouTube and then
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
they play. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you can hear the difference as opposed to when you have a love for the art and the craft and
Yeah. Yeah.
appreciation for that.
Definitely.
You want to be a part of it in a complete way. So
Right. Right.
you
Right.
just have to take the time to find the beauty in the simple chords that you're playing. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, the stuff that we're trying to practice, especially for those who are intermediate to advanced, it's just like what you're playing is actually not simple. Like a lot of
Yeah.
what we're probably a lot of people who are wanting to get better at
Mm-hmm.
playing specifically gospel music, it's just like if you listen to the majority of music that's being produced and put out and that's popular right
You
now,
can play most of
it's
it.
a lot simple. You can already play that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
the things that you're actually going for is not simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doctors spend 8 years studying medicine. Like,
Yep.
you're gonna spend 8 years. I'll say this: I used to practice when I was in college. I went from being like, again, a church, just a strictly church musician,
Mm-hmm.
who had a love and passion for music, but didn't grow up. I wasn't classically trained or anything.
Yeah.
I went from doing none of that to doing all of it in one semester. And I practiced 8 hours a day, 4 hours classical, 4 hours jazz,
Yep.
because
Sounds right.
I knew in order to get better at this, I needed to put time in because I wasn't familiar with it. So I engulfed myself with it. And then I was still playing at church on Thursdays or
Mm-hmm.
Wednesdays for rehearsal and Sundays for church. So I didn't lose anything that I already had. And that's the thing, when you're practicing and you're being patient with yourself, you're never going to lose what you already have. What you already have is already yours, and you're going to have that in your bag. You're adding to your
Yep.
bag.
That's
Practicing
good.
is not time wasted, it's time invested,
There you go.
So
I love it. Love it.
just
Love it.
think about it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, man. So I'm gonna go to some more of these questions that are in the chat. Let's see. I see. Uh, Julian Tabares. He said, if you could only give one pointer to someone that wants to improve their skill, what would it be?
Hmm. One pointer.
Yep.
Man, when it comes to music, mm, I would say if I had to choose one, it's not really one, but uh listening.
Okay.
Listening. What you ingest is what's going to come out of you.
Yep.
So, listening to great music, listen to what you want to become,
Hmm.
because there's the art of practicing it and learning it, and then there's making it natural, depends on how much you hear it. It's kind of like how we learn to talk. Music is a language.
Right.
We learn to talk and get better at speaking as we get older because we keep hearing people talk. That's how it happens. Music is the same way. You have to keep listening to be inspired to do something naturally, not just try to squeeze a line that you transcribed in a song that it doesn't really work with. You know what I'm saying? You can get inspired by the line that you did because you've been listening to music like that or solos like that, and get inspired and be able to put it organically in something, or it flow out of you organically because you've
Yeah.
been listening to it and it'll come out. So I would say listening is a big active listening, not just and you can listen passively too,
Absolutely.
but active listening, like just taking time, sitting down, not scrolling on Instagram, not doing anything,
That
just
part.
listen and absorb the music, listen to the elements. Be like, I'm gonna listen to this song one time through. I'm gonna listen only to the piano. Then I'm gonna listen only to the bass as a piano player, so I can
Hmm.
understand fully what the bass is doing. I'm gonna listen to
Yeah.
what the drummer's doing, like, so I can understand rhythmically, because piano is also a percussion instrument,
Right.
and
Yeah.
sometimes we forget that. Like, I'm gonna
Mm.
listen to all of that, and that'll kind of help you to, you know, cultivate and shape, you know, a better sound or a natural flow in how you do things.
Definitely. That's good. That's good. And just to make sure, so you're telling me I don't have to listen to a song one time? I got to listen to it more than once to understand it?
Yeah, for sure. You should. You should. Now, there's an art of listening to a song once and playing it back, but
Yeah.
that's that's something that you do when you have
You've
done the
already
work to be at a
progressed.
certain
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Definitely. Definitely. Dope. Dope. Okay. Hey, this is another reason why I like for Nothing But Church, because the gems that he's dropping in this live is we haven't even got deep yet, and you're gonna get more of this inside of the masterclass. So check out Nothing But Church. The information page is linked in the chat. All right. Kind of I want to backtrack a little bit to the younger years. What I guess when did you first start feeling like you were getting good at the keys? And around that time, I guess what were you studying? What musicians specifically were you listening to?
Um, I felt like I was getting good. I mean, now that I look back, I don't feel like I was good, but but I think for my age, I felt like I was getting good around the age of 9, 10. And I say
Okay.
that because I had completely stopped. Um, I stopped playing keyboard all around in church because I used to transpose when I was very young. I was
Okay.
transposing. So, um, and what that did was it hindered me from really fully being able to, if I didn't know other keys, I also didn't know what the possibilities were in the keys that I was good at. Like, I didn't, that was the whole thing. Like, I'm just like, so again, my big brother Dwayne, who I thank him for doing this. Uh, when I was about 6 years old, he stopped. We were in the middle of a service. He looked over at my hands. He was playing the organ, uh, and he looked over at my hands. He knew it wasn't right.
Mm.
Uh, at the time, I mean, I'm 6, and he's like probably almost 20. So he literally picks me up like a baby and sits me on the organ, like
Wow.
in the middle of service,
Hmm.
and basically forced me to play organ for like years. And I
Okay.
ended up falling in love with the organ, actually, like the sound of the organ.
Yeah.
But that also forced me to play in all my keys. And yes, I went down in some services. Like, if some
Okay.
services that we was in other keys, I went down in flames. But you know what that made me do? That made me go home and practice
Shed
and
more.
not
Yeah.
transpose the keyboard. You know, so I started to get better once I started to do away with the transpose,
Hmm.
and play organ a lot. That really is why my voicings are the way they are, is because I played organ for a very long time.
Gotcha.
and it kind of just helped my thinking even on keys.
Okay. Do you think all keyboardists should spend some time on organ?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I think so. Um, for a few reasons. It's a keyboard instrument, and I
Yeah.
feel like we should be as versed as we can be.
Versatile.
Like, why
Hmm.
why not? Why
Yeah.
not be able to play the organ? Why not know how to play the proper way to play like a clavinet sound? Why not know the
Hmm.
proper way to approach these instruments? Because they're all keyboard instruments, but they all have different functions.
Yeah.
So, um, playing organ, um, all the notes are gonna be the same. Again, my keyboard voicings are the same as my. There's not specific voicings for organ, but the nature of the instrument of the organ causes you to think differently, and especially having the independence of not having to play the bass on your left hand.
Hmm.
You don't have to, because you have pedals, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or you have a bass player. So either way, that rootless, mastering your rootless game and mastering being able to play like by yourself without
Right.
accompaniment, those are two different types of playing
Hmm.
that both need their individual time and study. And they both need like real practice, especially rootless, because it's hard for people to conceive it. But me coming from playing organ, I conceive it playing here, even if my foot isn't playing. Actually, even if I'm playing keys and there's no foot pedal, I can imagine the organ pedals and imagine the chords I'm playing. So it's easy for my left hand to just do what an organist's left hand would do. So I would say it takes time, still takes time and practice, but
Hmm.
the nature and sound of the instrument will inspire your voicings in a very unique way. So yes, I
Okay.
think everybody should learn organ.
Amazing. Amazing. You giving folks plenty of things to work on and to do over the next 5 years. I'm
Let's do
gonna
it. We
jump
all on
to
this journey together.
yeah, definitely, definitely, man. I'm gonna jump to some of these comments and questions in the chat. So this is Set in Christ. Man, I swear I need glasses. Um,
Me too.
Set in Christ. Let me see if I can pull it up. Said, will the masterclass give specific things to practice? 100%. You will have plenty of stuff to practice. So in the masterclass, there's like 5 different sections. You have congregational medleys. So Vaughn breaks down this section. He has a congregational medley. He's playing it and teaching it in separate all 12 keys. So I'm suggesting that whoever signs up for the masterclass, you start there. Start with learning the congregational medley in all 12 keys. You'll learn a bunch of tunes that you'll play in church, that you're definitely going to play in church. You'll learn a bunch of movements that apply across gospel in general, right? And so even while we were filming this, and I think as you go through the masterclass, if you're learning a song, like even if you're learning a song, there's opportunities to stop in the middle of learning a song and practice like technical things that won't just be applied to that song, but will be applied across the board in your playing, right? So there's plenty of things that you will have to practice, not just songs, stuff that's going to improve your technique, stuff that's going to improve your understanding of theory, all of that. Just to answer that question. And then let's see, I saw a question in here. Let me go through this. Let's see. Julian Tabarez asked another question. I think this is a good one. Who are some of your musical influences?
Ooh, man. Well, where do I start? I have so many. Um, I can start with gospel, but they're all like on the same like level as far as how much they've influenced what I do, just in
Yeah.
different sectors. Um, in gospel, Kevin Bond is a super influence,
The GOAT.
super huge influence for me. Um, Also, I love Thomas Whitfield. It is one of my biggest
Mm-hmm.
influence. Um, Commission, Michael Brooks, rest in peace. But a lot of that music, a lot of people have discovered me through my commission tribute. That was a real thing like that.
Yeah.
Listening to that music growing up, like that was a also a part of my development as a musician that really changed the game, and it changed the game for me in production. Like for on two different levels, it changed the game for me. Um, Andre Crouch, one of my biggest influences on the piano. I'm talking about as a pianist. Like I'm
Okay.
talking about
That's crazy.
like we know Thomas Whitfield is an artist, but I'm talking about as a pianist.
As a kid,
He
yeah.
influenced me. Andre Crouch as well. Who else? There's so many. On the jazz side of things, Herbie Hancock, McCoy Tyner, Kenny Kirkland, Roland Hanna. Uh, man, there's so many. Chick Corea for sure. Uh, who else? There's more.
Okay,
John
taking notes.
Coltrane. I listen to. I also, for a long time, I listened to horn players for influence, for melodic influence.
Uh,
So, John Coltrane is just probably one of my biggest musical influences ever. Um, um, what else? Who else? I'm heavily influenced by reggae music. Just the
okay.
genre. Uh, Monty Alexander, who's a Jamaican pianist, jazz pianist.
Hmm.
Wynton Kelly, who is also first generation. He played with John Coltrane before McCoy Tyner, and his parents were Jamaican, and they migrated to New York. And I always, when I learned that, it made so much sense to me because his bounce, like the rhythmic bounce, I'm like, that makes all the sense in the world to me. Uh, so yeah, Wynton Kelly, um, Red Garland, uh, jazz pianist. Who else? There is. I love Jason White. I
Yeah.
love Jason White on piano. Uh, gospel, gospel great. Um, Yeah, man.
So I got a
I
question.
love Aaron Lindsay. Aaron Lindsay was one of somebody that I discovered like later in my journey, but he still had an influence on me. Oh, how could I forget the legendary Bernard Wright? Like
Yeah,
Bernard
yeah,
Wright in any genre, in gospel and
yeah,
in
yeah,
funk. For those who don't know who Bernard Wright is, if y'all ever heard that song, Jamaica Funk, that what it is. That's a Bernard Wright
yeah, yeah.
production on the key bass, the piano, all of that. But he does everything. Um, man, there's more. I probably can't think of them right now, but
That's
that's
hey,
that's
that's a lot. That's plenty.
yeah, I would say there's more, but that's a lot. Dude.
My question would be, since you were 'cause you said when you went to college for music, you were spending a lot of time learning classical. Was that
Hmm.
was that stuff that you were learning independent, like just on your own, or was that like
No,
assignments for school?
those were assignments to
Okay.
me. And now, and I hated them when I was doing it. I hated it so much. I
Yeah,
didn't because it just took so much. It was a different part of my brain that I had never accessed, and
yeah, yeah.
just a different way of approaching the piano. But when I tell you that took what people know me as, it took
Hmm.
me to a whole different level because what started to be incorporated into my playing was touch and the
Okay.
understanding of the instrument. Classical music helps you understand the instrument
Yeah,
piano. Like, and it helps you to know how to approach it and how to play it, and how to make sure like certain like my professor was really strict on me and I'm like, man, I feel like a kid getting kicked out of off of the organ in church all over
right.
again because
Yeah.
now I'm older and I got this man telling me, yeah, no, you're not playing this right. I'm like, I've been
Mhm.
playing for 20 years,
Yeah.
at that point. But
Right.
it was so good for me, man. And so I'm influenced by Bach. I love
Okay.
Bach. I'm influenced. by Chopin. I'm influenced by Vivaldi, Rachmaninoff, all of those classical composers. Debussy
Mm-hmm.
is like, I love Claude Debussy. His compositions, they really help to shape my um help my touch and just the voicings of stuff. Like his voicings are very much the voicings that we love. Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this stuff is in classical music too.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's really there.
Okay.
So
Got you.
yeah.
That's amazing. Cool. Cool. Hey, so I know we're gonna be winding down here pretty soon. If you weren't on the call when we started, currently, well, he's getting ready to have a rehearsal tonight for a live recording that he's doing this week. So he was
Yeah.
gracious enough to jump on this call with us and bless us with some wisdom, knowledge, and info. So I think we just let me know how much time you got. What, about 5-10 minutes?
About 10 minutes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll hit a couple more questions, and then we'll call it a night, y'all. So I see Myron right here dropped. How do you overcome musical roadblocks in growth? What you got for him?
Um, take a break. Literally, you take a break. So I'll tell you how I practice. Well, the thing is, you got to keep practicing. Practice every day. Don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you overcome it.
Right.
Don't quit. It's almost like working out in the gym. Like if you get winded and tired, and then you just be like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today. Then before
Mm-hmm.
you know it, you stop going to the
Uh-huh.
gym, and then you're fat. You know, this happens
Just
like
go
that.
to the extreme.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but you got to still be consistent. But when you're tired, you take a rest. You go to the bathroom, you drink some water, and then you get back to it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And even if you don't feel like you've made progress because you tried, you made progress.
Yeah.
You know? And you have to tell yourself that even when you don't feel it. And then so literally when if I've ever practiced anything and I felt like I just wasn't getting it or I keep messing it up and I put in my time, I've done all that I can do, I'll take a break. And sometimes I'll take a break and stop for the day and literally go to sleep and rest. When we rest, our brains actually completely absorb what we were just trying to absorb
Yeah.
immediately. Our brain actually
Mm-hmm.
has time to say, okay, now I'll process this on my own time. And the next day you try it, I guarantee you'll have it.
It'd be better.
Like
Yeah.
it's it's just like that. Patience and patience and consistency. That's how you overcome it. Patience, consistency, and listening to stuff that inspire you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's funny that you said because I think about all the times like I don't do it nowadays, but all the times where let's say I've gotten some music late or something, there's a show and it's like I got to learn songs same day. You know, it's like even if you spend let's say 2 or 3 hours learning music the same day, it feels very different than learning or than spending 2 or 3 hours with music even the night before.
Way different.
Yeah, if you spend 2 or 3 hours the night before, sleep on it, and then wake up, it feels like
Yeah.
you like your muscle memory has attached to it quicker. Whereas like
Yeah.
sometimes I learn songs and then got to a gig and be like, dang, where'd it
Yeah.
go?
Yeah. Unless it's CCM, to me it's just like
Right, yeah.
same day. It's like it can be done, but
Yeah, it
I
can.
also won't take as much risk because I'm still trying to process it. And even with
Mm-hmm.
CCM, sometimes I might remember progressions, but I might forget melodies. And
Melody.
in
Yeah.
CCM, that stuff is important. Like
Yeah.
melodies and making sure that you establish that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So even then, like even with that music, I still need time to process that and know what's coming up, know
Yeah.
patterns. Like your brain
Mm-hmm.
still needs time to process patterns, not just difficult chords or difficult melodies. Like your
Yeah.
brain needs time to process anything. So you got to give
Mm-hmm.
yourself time. That's it right there.
More of
Just
the
give
story.
yourself
Yeah.
time.
Okay, cool. So a couple more questions since we're winding down. I want to switch gears with this question with these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just as you know, being a full-time musician, you're married, you got a kid, you have a
Mm-hmm.
family. How
Yep.
is it balancing the music life with the family life, being a husband, trying to be a good husband, trying to be a good dad, being a present dad. It seems like a lot of musicians struggle or fail with that. And so I definitely want you to speak to that.
Um, that hits home. It's very tough uh without Christ.
Yeah.
It's super tough and pretty much impossible without Christ.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't mean just by being saved. I mean without a
A walk.
guidance and relationship. Like
Hmm.
I need guidance. Like, cause sometimes I don't know the balance.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know how to do all of this because this takes time. Like
Yeah.
now, one thing that I would say, I'm blessed with a wife who understands. She met me doing this. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like she understands, but at the same time, I also understand my obligation to my family, because God holds me accountable for that.
Hmm.
So I still have to make time, and I love them. I want to make time for them, and I love music, and I want to make time for it. So it's uh sometimes it's like seasons, like
Hmm.
this week in particular. I'm super busy. I'm going to be seeing my family for maybe, you know, 3 or 4 hours out of a day because I'm
Yeah.
producing and spearheading a recording session. Um,
Right.
so their understanding of that, they understand that it's also my work. It's like I'm away for work. Um, but when this recording is over, I got to make sure that I am intentional with the time that I spend with my wife and the time I spend with my son separately, because those are two different things. A lot of
Hey,
musicians,
talk about it.
they like sometimes they'll be like, okay, well, I'll spend some time with my kid, but it's just like, yeah, you really should be spending time with your wife first.
Yeah.
Like, you really should be doing that. Um, and so I have to keep that in the forefront of my mind, and as long as my mind is locked on it, and I am, you know, doing my best to uh to seek God about it, and honestly spending time with God too. Like I got to make time for that. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just priorities, man. It's just like got to make time for God, got to make time for wife, got to make time for your kid, and know that God understands that you have limits. So
Hmm.
pray to God about your limits and ask Him to bless you with opportunities to where you don't have to work as hard, but you can work smarter and
Yeah.
still balance your life. That's the season that I'm in, man.
Come
And
on.
sometimes it's easier than other times, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I will say you can't do it without Christ. So that's the only thing I can really offer.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's amazing here, man. It's definitely a never ending journey. It's something that changes, like you said, from season to season. Sometimes you get it right. Other times, family members might come to you and be like, "Hey, we need to reassess what's going on right now." And so it's a process. I love that you said that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool, cool. Well, hey, we are winding down here. So I want to end off with just asking why to the people that are maybe the people that are going to watch the replay, why should
Mhm.
they take the Nothing But Church masterclass and learn from the Vaughn V.Keys Henry?
I think I think you guys should take this master class, um, because I myself am a student. I'm always a student of music, and I'm still learning. This is why when I say we're on this journey together, I really mean that. Like I'm still practicing and I'm still learning, and you want a teacher like that. Some of the people, the professors that did the most impactful work in my life, that took me from just being able to play gospel music to being able to play all of the music that you guys see me play. um they all gave me real life experience, and I all saw them every time during their breaks. They were in their office practicing, working on themselves, not just being a professor. Oh, I got it all together. They were in there shedding you know
Wow.
so you want to learn from people who are actively doing that. I'm still doing that to the best of my ability. I'm still always doing that. So you want that. Um, and I just think this resource, the way that you and the team have packaged this, man, it's like nothing I've ever seen, man. Uh,
Appreciate that, man.
if I were a beginner or whether I was a beginner or intermediate,
Yeah.
I could understand. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna sound funny, but I was looking back. My wife was watching me look back at some of the stuff that you tagged me in, and I was
Right.
like, "Wow, this came out nice." I was like,
Yeah.
I understand. I understand that. Like,
Yeah.
it
That's
made
funny.
it made sense to me. I'm like, I feel like that would make sense to somebody
Right.
who probably can't do that yet
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that you made what I said clear by how you guys packaged it. And
Okay.
I think that makes the difference, man.
Yeah.
It's just such a wonderful tool. And there was so much work and intentionality put behind it by gifted
Right.
hands. That's the reason why you should get it.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, you know.
Hey, love it, man. Hey, appreciate you. I know
Man,
you got to get ready
absolutely.
for a rehearsal tonight. Thank you for taking the time, spending with the folks.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
I did not think it was going to be this many comments and questions, and
Yeah,
we
I mean,
honestly
I
didn't
got
even get.
time for a few more.
Oh
Somebody
yeah.
asked me, what is your production and arrangement process? My God.
That's a whole masterclass within itself.
Yeah, it is. I will say this: it depends on the genre. Um, yeah, it depends on the genre. I'll speak to gospel though, since we're talking about nothing but church. So my
Hmm.
arrangement process for this particular project was um getting doing the do the grunt work or the worst work first. Just get it
Okay.
out the way. Get it out the way. And by that I mean I and I made sure every lyric, I was like, what are the lyrics here? Like I had to, as a producer, you want to be aware of the lyrics. You don't want to just put music to stuff. You want to be aware of
Yeah.
everything that's happening, you know? So being aware of that, getting, getting an idea of what, you know, getting an idea of what the song is going to be, and then just putting a demo track to it. And what I've learned, like in my younger years, I would immediately go to building a whole track in one day. I was just like, yeah, I'm about to knock this out.
Like
But then what
murder
I
it.
realized is when I do the whole track and I end up having to go back and make revisions, now I have
Yeah.
all these instruments to make revisions on, as
Facts.
opposed to if I just did a piano and bass
Hmm.
and a loop up front. Then when I make revisions, I can just make revisions there and then really do the production more so at the end. So that
Yeah.
is something that I would say that yeah.
Uh-oh.
And then I start with piano and bass to just kind of get an understanding of the song and what it's going to be, and then I'll add the other elements around that. You know,
Gotcha.
once the once I've checked with the artist or client and know that this is solidified. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's great. I just had to do that for a Christmas show at my church. Uh-oh, you still there, Vaughn? Might be having some connection issues. Okay, can you hear me? Vaughn, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, I cut out.
Okay.
My bad. Yeah,
No, all
I'm
good.
still here.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, I literally just had to do that for a Christmas production at our church. Produce out the whole track and then send it off to get approval. A couple things needed to be changed, and it's like, man,
Now I
we
have to
got
do
55 tracks in this
exactly,
arrangement.
exactly. Now we have to do everything. So
Yeah.
that's kind of yeah, that's kind of the I've learned to again work. smarter, not harder. You know.
Yeah. Hey, cool. That's amazing, man. Anything else you want to leave the people with?
Keep God first. Amen.
There you go. Come on, Bishop.
That's it. That's it.
Talk to him, Bishop.
That's it.
Hey, well, I think we might have to do another one of these, man. Because,
Yeah,
like
we
I
may
said,
have to.
there's plenty of questions that we didn't get to, and I mean, I feel like that's kind of a good thing. I wish we would have got to more, but hey, this was super impactful. I'm hoping that everybody who's on the call got something from this. Hope that it helps you along your piano journey. And yeah, we will definitely be back again with more of these lives very soon.
Sure.
Hey, my brother, appreciate it, man.
Man, I appreciate you, bro.
Yes,
Thanks for
sir.
having me, bro.
Enjoy your
Yeah.
afternoon, man.
Yeah, we'll do, bro. All right,
All right,
take
peace
care.
out.
Peace.